VGK tries to get the new year started off on the right foot as the Flyers come into town on Thursday night. Our preview comes your way next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, and please make sure to subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. You know that John Tortorella has watched every ounce of that Montreal VGK game and the way that the Canadiens played in that game on New Year's Eve and the loss that VGK incurred to the Montreal Canadiens. In fact, Montreal with a forecheck out-hitting VGK 39-22 in that game. Does another Eastern Conference opponent set the tone in the area of physicality in Thursday night's game?
Yeah, I mean, physicality, taking away time and space, and forecheck. Again, we talked about on yesterday's show the kind of that trap defense, give the teams the breakouts and let them try to beat you at the blue line. And I don't know if that would bode well for a team trying to do that against the Golden Knights because of how strong they are in the transition game. If you got three members of the Golden Knights all moving in sync together, coming across that neutral zone, that's where a lot of goals get scored. So I don't know if the Flyers will be sitting back waiting. But Montreal also had some pressure on Vegas down low, disturbing those breakouts. And as Coach Cassidy said, right, 2 goals from the Canadiens off of missed breakouts. So there you go.
Yeah. And the Flyers, spending New Year's Eve in Las Vegas after they defeated the Sharks in San Jose 4-0. It was a costly win as the goaltender, Samuel Ersson, had to leave that game after 2 periods due to an injury. And the Flyers, they had to go with Alexev Koselev. And when you talk about Ersson, he's the number 1 goaltender for the Flyers. So a loss of Ersson would be a big loss for Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the goalies, if it's Kolosov, 4.71, 3.39, save percentage of 8.72, rookie Fedotov. I don't know what his situation is, but he's got 10 games played this year, 3.49 and 8.77. Even if it was Ersson, his goals against is better, 3.02, but 8.84 save percentage. So big area of opportunity, right? Philly's going to try and win this game by keeping it tight and keeping Vegas on their heels. But Vegas, I mean, it's going to be tough to keep Vegas off the board against a goalie, and whichever one of these 3 goalies it ends up being. These 2 teams met back on November the 25th. Philly had a 3-goal lead in that game. I just looked it up. I was trying to jog my memory. Philly was up 3-0. Vegas scores the next 2. Philly scores another one, so now it's 4-2. Dorofeev and Tanner Pearson, of all people, ties the game in the third, and then a shootout victory for the Vegas Golden Knights. Jack Eichel with the last goal for Vegas. So could be a track meet type of game. I'll take a look at the odds right now if you want to yap for a second.
Oh, well, I was going to talk more about Ersson since he is very valuable at this point to this team. Another team that comes in here rather hot. And when you look at the Philadelphia Flyers, a 500 team, they are 16-16, 2-1 on the road on this current road trip. And Ersson had a collision, I guess, with Luke Kunin. And earlier this season, he missed 13 games already due to injury. And for the Flyers, they don't have a lot of depth, and they have to keep someone like Ersson healthy.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about the Flyers in general, we'll take a look at their stats here as far as their depth. Konechny leads in points, 42 points. Mishkov, rookie, 29 points, 36 games. Mishkov gets out of Tortorella's nerves. He bothers.
I want to talk about him a bunch. Yeah, I do want to talk about him.
He bothers him. He bothers him because, in Tortorella's words, he's always trying to pull the Michigan. Always trying to pull the Michigan. I think Mishkov was a healthy scratch at least once, maybe twice this season. Twice. Okay, season. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So trying to get the rookie into shape really fast here. The betting line, the early line, is Vegas minus 210, Philly plus 180. So what they're telling us right now is this game should be tighter than the Montreal game. And there's a sizable gap from Philly to Montreal. So be curious to see how the money comes in tomorrow. This might just simply be an adjustment because Vegas was too heavily favored against Montreal. Because again, this isn't an opinion. This is money that dictates this. The books put out an opening line, and there could be some quick movement, depending on where the money comes in. So we'll see what happens in the next few hours.
So, Torts, let's talk a little bit more about the rookie
I
Michkov.
love Tortorella.
He was 19. Now he's 20 years old. Torts sat him down in the third period in Anaheim earlier in the week. He said that this has been a struggle for the youngster. He said everything, really, including the schedule, has really caught up to him. And he does believe that he just needs to bring him along rather slowly. All of a sudden, he played a bunch of games, right, in the KHL. And then the season just continued. So right now, I mean, typically you'll have rookies hitting that rookie wall, but he's already played a ton of games already, probably in the 90s, I would have to guess, 80 or 90 games already in the calendar year of 24 coming over from the KHL. And he said that we are asking him to do too much for a 20-year-old, scratched twice, as we mentioned. And that's drawing the ire of the Philly fans. They're not really happy about it. They think that Michkov should be an everyday player. Yes, he's very talented, but again, he's awfully young. He still has 29 points. He still has a long way to go. And he shut him down in that third period in Anaheim, which is pretty interesting. And currently, Michkov, he had an 8-game points drought before he scored a goal and had an assist in Los Angeles this week. But we know he's very talented, and if he gets going, it's going to be difficult for VGK to counterattack.
Mishkov, I mean, you want to talk about a head case, not him, but the situation that he was in. So I remember talking about this when I was writing for a very terrible organization.
A terrible journal. Yeah. Okay.
Terrible, brutal.
Terrible.
Didn't have any media access
Awful.
to anywhere in the NHL.
Okay.
But whatever, another story for another time.
All right, that's in 24, right? We left that behind. Forward.
Left it
Think
behind
forward.
a lot long ago in 23, but yeah.
Okay, 20.
Now listen, so Mishkov, KHL, he gets drafted by the Flyers, a very high pick, number 2 overall, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Gets taken really high. He gets scratched in his KHL games for a long time. His initial team he was with when he got drafted in the National Hockey League, my political stuff, whatever it is. I mean, we don't got to get into that, but point being is, you're telling me Mishkov, who was drafted number 2 or 3, whatever it was, overall in the National Hockey League, is not among the top 12 forward options for his team in the KHL, a lesser organization than the National Hockey League. So he transfers teams, however that happens in the KHL, lights it on fire for a while, and credit to him, he finds a way to get the heck out of Dodge, and here he is with Philly. And, Tortorella is going to be tough to play for, but the way you put it, Tony, it sounds like Tortorella understands the situation and is trying to protect him as much as he's trying to be a hard ass on him. I mean, that's just who Tortorella is. But I will say this is a different Tortorella than we've seen in the past. Tortorella, you think he's grumpy, out there just yelling at the players, trying to scare him into playing well. But there's a different culture in Philly. I go back to when I was on the elevator with Danny Briere, and I forget the president's name, former commentator. With like TNT and all that. I always forget his name. And listening to them talk, it was when the Golden Knights beat the Flyers, I think 2-1 early last season. Paul Cotter scored that between the legs dangle goal, really sick goal. And all they were talking about is how proud they were. I wasn't interacting with them. I was just listening. I was a fly on the wall in the elevators, the 3 of us. And they were talking about how proud they were of how hard the team battled, how hard they worked. They talked about Torts a little bit and everything. And, you can see they understand the process and what's happening in Philly. Looking at these names, I mean, Sanheim, he's younger. Bobby Brink is younger. Tyson Forster is younger. Noah Cates, Ryan Paling, he's, a 3-4 year vet. Jamie Drysdale, Emil Andre, like these are all very Oli Lixell. These are all very young players, including Fedotov, who's another young goalie. So it's going to take some time, kind of like I don't know if San Jose is the comparable in the Western Conference, but kind of that same thing. Another Montreal
they're
type.
500. They're better. They're better. The Flyers are better than San Jose.
I mean, a lot of teams are better than San Jose, but just the situation as far as young players developing and seeing where this team is going to end up, 3 to 5 years from now.
And Michkov, too, they say is 2 years ahead of his schedule because he wasn't supposed to be here for another couple of years. Were
That
you
was like a
thinking?
4 to 5 year plan, I thought at first. Like it was not
Yeah.
sure, but there was a closed doors meeting just to get in. They closed the Flyers practice facility when he visited there,
Hmm.
and whatever happened, he convinced Briere and whoever the key decision makers of the Flyers were. He wanted to be a Flyer. He wanted to be with them, and I think that's part of why this happened so fast. So, credit to Mishkov, and we'll see where he is a few years from now.
Were you thinking of Keith Jones, the
Yes, Keith
VP of
Jones. Thank you.
hockey
Yes, 100%.
hockey operations there with the Flyers? And VGK, they need to get more production in this game and moving forward in the month of January out of their top six because they did not score any points the other day there in the game in which they lost here at home on New Year's Eve to Montreal. So I'm going to ask again, like we do every day, do you feel that Barbashev and Waugh will be back in the VGK lineup come Thursday night? Still no, huh?
No, you got to get him on the ice in a red first. I don't think either one has taken the ice in a non-contact yet. They're skating on their own. Cassidy mentioned the other day that they didn't skate for a day. He thought it was, in his words, he thought that might have been for maintenance purposes. I don't know. Read between the lines, you never know. Until they're on the ice in a red, you're not going to see them with the Vegas Golden Knights in a game. Once you see him on the ice in a red, I think you'll see, obviously, you see him out there 3 to 5 days after that. Looking at the schedule, I thought I predicted at San Jose or back home next week on the 9th against the Islanders is when one or both of them will probably return.
Well,
No
again,
reason to
for
rush. No
continuity,
reason to rush it.
I know, but for continuity's sake, they definitely need those two players back. And
Oh,
we
no
haven't
doubt.
even talked about, perhaps in the future there could be other nicks or some players that get injured and
It's
hurt.
going to
And
happen. It
so,
happen every year. It's going to
of
happen.
course,
It's bound. It's
it's
bound to.
the
It's January.
inevitable.
It's happening.
Coming up next, so VGK, a late breaking news story here. Thank you, Mr. Golick. Now, number one in the NHL power rankings. That's a surprise. And we'll talk about our points predictions for the upcoming month, for the month of January next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. We want to tell you a little bit more about Gametime. Of course, it is our favorite, and they have that new feature called Gametime Picks. It makes getting tickets for your favorite live event even easier. Gametime Picks, it filters out all of the fluff. It only shows you the incredible deals that you want to see and the great seats so that you don't have to waste all your time going through thousands and thousands of tickets. And they have a lot of really good things there that are happening, some terrific features. Curated deals make it easier to find the best price on great seats. They have something called the Super Deal. You want to check that out. The seat views before that you buy the tickets, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, which is absolutely unheard of. And it's terrific that they put that there as one of their features. Priority seating, again, Gametime Picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. And with the all-in pricing, we remind you that you need to toggle this feature, and then it shows you the total up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout. So that is really cool. Lowest price guarantee on Gametime, or they will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll receive $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, use that redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, $20 off of your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Golick, what time is it?
Game time.
Very slow.
How many times
Back
did you
on
say
this-
it? Did you say it like twice? Because I only heard it once, but you
No,
raised your
I only
voice.
said it once.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you like startled me. I'm looking on Twitter here, and you started yelling at me.
Back on today's edition of
so
Locked
bad.
On Golden Knights. Don't forget Fridays, WTF. I'll be on the road. It could be a game time decision for me. I'm listed as day to day. I'll be on assignment there. And then, of course, don't forget on Saturdays, sometimes it's the Chris and Chris Jr. show. So the breaking news here. We're recording this show on New Year's Day. VGK
This
breaking
was
right
on a
before we
holiday.
went
What
on
did
the
the
air.
holiday pay for this?
Time and a half of okay. The late breaking news: VGK rated number 1 in the power rankings, and this is according to whom? NHL.com.
NHL.com.
Okay,
NHL.
number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts? What does it say in that the latest rankings?
Well, let's frame this here first. So they put the top 16 out there. No teams dropped out from the previous top 16, and there's a total of 13, 15, call it 15 writers plus or minus. National writers, some local, no names I recognize locally, but definitely a lot of national people here. I think the lowest anyone has Vegas on this entire list was 3, which that tells you something right there. And the one writer that had them 3, if I can find it, maybe no one did have them 3. I thought one person had them 3 behind Washington, and then everything else was 1s and 2s. Okay, yeah, David Satriano goes Winnipeg, Washington, Vegas, which is fine, whatever. I mean, we're splitting hairs. Collectively, it's Vegas, Winnipeg, and Washington. That's the way we can start this off. And I mean, I don't think it's a surprise given the run they were on. I mean, straight the schedule matters. They haven't beat a lot of good teams, but so what? They're winning the games. They're winning the situations. Tony will talk about the scheduling, I'm sure, if I give him an opening. So I'll just keep yapping here for a second. But at the end of the day, it's a ranking that Vegas is deserving of. December, they do really well, right? December, they've been 700 or better points percentage, I think, every year in existence, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, or that might have been the collective total. But either way, VGK very, very strong in December. And as a result, they come out of 2024 as the NHL's best team per NHL.com. I think Money Puck also has Vegas to win the Stanley Cup right now. So strong shift in the rankings, and we'll see what January has to offer. 15 game month, 9 at home, 6 on the road, Tony.
I miscounted their games. How'd I have 13? Okay.
You can't count.
15 and 31 days. So every other day. So let's see what the attrition rate is for VGK or how things shake out. So I had VGK for 14 points in the month of December. They eclipsed that easily. They had 20 and they had just the 1 loss, right, in December, right?
2.
Yeah. Oh, 2 losses. Okay, 2 losses.
Edmonton.
Right. The Edmonton loss was in December. VGK should have 6 points in the first 3 games. Flyers, Sabres at home and at San Jose. Then the Isles come in, and then that's a tough out there with the Isles at times. Rangers, who knows what they'll bring. They'll have a new coach by then on January 11th, probably. The Wild. All of these games. Go ahead. I need to recalibrate here because I had the wrong number of teams. I know that, when they'll have a home and home against the Blues, and I have them splitting that. I know that the Panthers, Stars, and Blue Jackets, that's 4 points there. And so 15 games. Let me recalculate right now. Go ahead. Your turn.
Yeah, so I think they're going to start pretty decent early on, right? I mean, Philly, Buffalo, San Jose, New York Islanders. I think that's 4 wins right
the
there.
Isles, not quite sure because they're hit and miss.
Home game. That's the difference for me in that one. And Islanders probably play a back-to-back anyway before that. So there you go. Where it's going to get difficult, in my opinion, starts on January 11th. 11th and 12th back-to-back Rangers, Minnesota. Granted, it's home, but still back-to-back. And then fly to Nashville on the 14th, a couple days off, 17th, 18th back-to-back. You got a lot of 3 games and 4 nights happening as well in January. So
for who? For the opponents, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to say Vegas, and we'll see what their opponents have. I didn't look at the opponent schedules yet, but it has to slow down at some point, right? They're not going to get through January with 2 regulation losses. There's no way. I'm going to think there's a little more of a reality check for the Vegas Golden Knights. I'm going 16 of 30 points for the month of January.
You're going to go 16 of 30 potential points.
Yes. With 9 home games and 6 road games. Tough schedule. Injuries have to happen. They have to. They do every year.
I have 19. I have 19. So that's where I'm
Tony
at.
just said more than I did. Now you're gonna get dragged, Tony, because you're gonna jinx it.
Because I'm
You're gonna
being
get like
positive.
6 points in January because you said more than I did. You
What
compromised.
I should have said, what, 30 points? They'll probably have
You should
30.
have 34.
34. Okay, you were just talking about the Wild. How about this? 3 games in 4 days when they come here. The Avalanche at home, and then Sharks the night before they come to Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. Come on,
There we go. Well,
Rick
we'll see
Vale.
how it plays out. It's, again, Vegas is playing really well, and it doesn't mean I don't think they're a good team. Doesn't mean I don't think they're a great team. They are a great team, and they're going to get better. But injuries do hit this team pretty hard, usually in January and February. All eyes are on Mark
Oh,
Stone.
a lot of teams, of
Of
course.
course, attrition is, but Vegas has been on the right side of injury variance this year. They've been much better than
I
years
was thinking
past.
about this. I gave this a lot of thought. They got rid of the equipment manager, and then fewer injuries.
I heard, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's. I heard that he wasn't necessarily treating people the best way, but I understand. And maybe, I mean, blame Critter. I guess poor Critter. That's his nickname.
Okay. Anything else to add there on the points? Let's go
I'm
to
looking
break.
really fast. Just I'm
All
talking
right.
about injuries here. I'm curious where the Vegas Golden Knights do rank right now, and
They're probably in the middle. They're probably in the bottom
where all their
half,
tweets go.
bottom third.
Is Twitter broken?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay, let's take
I'm
a break.
trying
Come back
to
with that.
like it's not.
Come back with that. Come on. We'll go to
I got a
break. We'll
Band-Aid,
come
man.
back, and then you can handle that. Coming up next, our locks of the night and our predictions are back for the first time this year. We'll get to that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The NFL playoffs are almost here. Of course, the Raiders are not a part of that picture, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That finale, we thought that they were going to perhaps put that on Saturday. It'll be on Sunday afternoon at 1:25, and the Chargers are a 5-point favorite, and the total is 41. Right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W, and we definitely like which player will score a touchdown, how many points will each team score. It's very much exciting and thrilling, plus much, much more. Just visit FanDuel.com. Join us today. Join FanDuel.com today, too. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. I do want to share a very funny, I can't tell all of it because I don't want to get someone, an employee of Allegiant Stadium, in trouble. But I will say one thing. Antonio Pierce was on our packed elevator, and someone ripped him hard and would not. We went 2 floors, and someone was just going off on Antonio Pierce. His wife was there, his kids were there, and the guy's like, "Why would you win games? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? We need draft picks. Well, I'm tired of this. Why would you go out there and try to win a game?" So, well, that's my job. The 2 floors took an hour to get up there, in just 2 floors.
Listen, I mean, I know you're
at
not going to
Allegiant
say who,
Stadium.
but don't tell me this is a media member talking like this.
No. It's not a media member. I was on the elevator with a couple of friends, and we held in the laughter till after he got off of the elevator, but it made him very uncomfortable. And he did say that he would be back. He would be back on that elevator after the Raiders won the last 2 games. So he's going to come back with a vengeance. And he said, "Hey, it's my job to win games." And the guy just would not let up. It was very funny, but very uncomfortable.
So this wasn't someone tied to the team.
No, I don't want to go any further. Let's not get
peanut
anyone in
vendor.
trouble. What's that?
A peanut vendor?
No,
My God,
it was not a peanut vendor. It is time, but it was hysterical though, and
Yeah?
I couldn't laugh. He sort of, I've seen him around, what have you. He says hi, kind of, okay, great, and because I've been there sometimes, what have you, and so we kind of just waved, He gets on the elevator and then the assault. It was awful. It was an absolute attack on Antonio Pierce. Locks and predictions for VGK against Philadelphia. So Philly's been here. Could this be a guilty game? New Year's Eve in Vegas. VGK had their 6-game win streak snapped at the hands of Montreal there on New Year's Eve. And I can guarantee one thing. Bruce Cassidy has this team's attention, and they will execute better come Thursday night. I wonder if Cassidy tried to drag them out of bed like around 8 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day to try to get them to come to the rink. In any event,
I think they were off today, Tony. They were off today.
I know, but you never know. Like, look at Dallas. They got fined $100,000 because they had a practice during that period, right, where you're supposed to shut it down during the Christmas break.
A team traveled early too during the break. Was it last year or the year before? I forgot who, but someone actually traveled too early as well.
Was it Nashville? No, Nashville was a little bit later. Somebody came in a lot earlier than they were supposed to and hung out in Vegas for a minute. I'll go with, you said Pearson scored, right, in that first meeting. So I'm going to take Pearson and Stone. I'm going to go 4-2 VGK, but the Golden Knights had better come prepared, and they better play a lot tougher game. They're going to get challenged. And Tortorella he's a really good coach, as we know.
Yep.
And he'll have this team ready to go.
Been a while, but he's Stanley Cup winner.
Right. But he'll have them ready to go, and he's going to want them to play tough. I know that he broke down that film against Montreal, and he saw the forward checking, and he saw those hits, and I think we're going to see them follow that same script come Thursday night at the Fortress, Chris.
Yeah, no, you're on the ball on everything there. Bad New Year's Eve reference, but you're on the ball on everything. Flip side, Coach Cassidy was pissed off after last game. His words, going to be pissed off when he watches the video and how they lost that game and lost their points. So, Coach finds ways to. And granted, it's only a pregame skate, not necessarily a practice tomorrow, but there will be some reinforcements of what Cassidy's going to want to see out of the Golden Knights tonight, even though we're recording the day before. But I'll play along. There'll be some reinforcement. Cassidy finds ways to fix things when they're not going well, and what needs to be cleaned up. What needed to be cleaned up after the loss to Montreal will be cleaned up. Philly's best shot in this game is early. If they can't get a multiple goal lead in the first 10, 12 minutes, if they do, it still may not work out. But if they can't get a multiple goal lead in the first 10, 12 minutes of the game, I think Vegas runs away with this one. I wrote down 7-2. I think it's going to be just a crazy high-scoring game. Looking at the goalie situation, the defensive situation for Philly. 7-2 Vegas. I wrote down Eichel and Stone. Chris gave me his pick before I came down 2-1 Vegas. I didn't get players though yet.
Okay, you'll have those, of course, on the X. So you were looking up man games lost when we went to break.
I was trying to know that.
You
the
didn't find
NHL
anything?
Injury Viz website is dark or something. I don't know what's up with this.
Everyone's on vacation. They'll be back on Monday.
They're no longer actively posting here, lurking in DMs only. See header and pick to find me. I don't know what's going on here.
Wow.
Sounds like the dude sold it. Sounds like the dude sold his
might have sold it like everything else. We need to start a page where we just have like all the insider information stuff about Antonio Pierce that no one else has.
Say
like that.
No one in Vegas, the Golden Knights can give us nothing. So whatever you say about where you have to Rangers, that's
but
fine.
we find out. We do find out. We do appreciate everyone tuning in, especially our everydayers tuning in around the globe.
Is there quality control openings for Nighttime Plus? I'd volunteer for that.
You and I, they should just give us the subscription and then tell them what all the bugs are, right? And this is how you can improve it.
I've done it every tweet.
But you know what I like? I've
done it privately too. Yes, if that's where you're at, want me to say yes, I have.
Yeah, you did have a private discussion about this with someone, a part of the brass there for VGK.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
I did want to make mention
and nothing changed.
That you are now utilizing the name that I coined for that said app, Nighttime Minus.
It's terrible. Terrible.
You like the name. Everyone's calling it that now.
It's catchy.
I come up with something once in a while.
How about Nighttime minus the fee? Take off the $60 we got to pay a year, or whatever the stupid discount is for season ticket members. Whatever
you get, a discount. You get a discount for that.
Yeah, I think it's 20%, but whatever. Who cares? It's still not worth it. It's not worth $1. but give us
It
make
was
it
fine
free.
the other night. It
Sell
was
more
fine.
ad space, put more ads out there, and whatever. I don't care.
How would the fans react? I know this is not yet WTF. How would they react if I picked VGK to win every game in the month of January?
The
I could run
term
for
damned
mayor,
if you do, damned
probably.
if you don't comes to mind.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thank you so much, everyone. And thanks for the thousands and thousands of downloads this year on the audio side and all the
Thousands?
views.
More than that, probably.
Thousands. We had thousands and thousands. We
That's
did.
it? Probably
Tens
more
of
than that.
thousands. Is
That's
that a good way to?
probably better? Yeah.
Okay, tens of thousands.
Yeah. Probably closer to 100,000.
And of
but
course,
okay.
same thing on YouTube. And we appreciate everyone
YouTube is over
subscribing.
120,000 by itself, Tony.
Okay, so thousands,
And audio is more.
tens,
Quarter million.
tens of thousands, tens of
Quarter
thousands.
million.
We'll see you again next time. Friday's the next show. I think whoever's here is here. Whatever happens, happens.
This is the Thursday show we're doing right now?
I think we're recording the Thursday show.
Okay, yeah. So we'll be good on Friday, yeah.
All right, it's WTF Day Friday.
It feels like a Sunday, Tony. It feels like Sunday. I don't know.
It feels like we are aliens right now. Thank you
fine.
so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next time for Friday's show on Locked On Golden Knights, and please take care.